of Defense. Well, it's created jobs, kept teachers in the classroom, and paid for numerous health services.
But what happens when the stimulus money runs out? In tonight's segment 2 News reporter Marla Carter gets answers on the economic outlook that some say could be dismal.
Quarter and quarter and quarter and quarter.
It may only be teacher Nathan Greenwood's second year teaching, but his popularity puts him at the top of the class.
The other day I was remarking that I can't believe I get paid to do this because I have a lot of fun.
In fact, there are waiting lists just to get into some of his classes. But that almost ended on a sour note. He was on the teacher recall list, but stimulus dollars saved his and 22 other TPS teaching jobs this year.
Education is incredibly important, and if we don't fund it, then, our future is being hurt by it.
In fact, stimulus money has had a $316 million impact on education programs, services, and research in Oklahoma. And the state treasurer says without that money, things would have been a whole lot worse.
We've seen, loss of teachers, uncertainty for future funds and future programs.
But that's just the beginning. Health and Human Services has received more than $65 million in funding and savings for things such as food assistance, child care programs, and medical provisions.
Stimulus dollars have also funded dozens of road projects across the state, including $68 million for the interdispersal loop in downtown Tulsa.
In fact, in all, the State Department of Transportation received $465 million in road projects. That money made it possible for road projects to be completed years ahead of schedule. But now the question is, what happens when all that stimulus money is gone?
All of a sudden, next fiscal year, the legislature has to replace maybe $500 million of those funds. So that's obviously going to be a big challenge in putting together the next budget, is replacing that money.
But State Senator Randy Brogdon says it's going to be a lot worse than that when you add in the depletion of the state's rainy day fund, too.
We're $1.2 billion in debt when the new legislature goes back in session in February. They will have to cut at a minimum of $1 billion out of the state budget, because all this free money from Washington, D.C. has been cut off.
But Meacham doesn't see it that way and says without those dollars, our state would have suffered. Plus, he says the economy is improving.
We have seen a bottoming of the economy, and we are seeing a little bit of growth. I think we will see some growth revenue that'll help offset some of that. Plus, we have some cash reserves that'll carry over.
Despite that, Brogdon says relying on that money will affect us for years to come.
We are taking our kids' economic future away from them. We are borrowing money to satisfy our wants and desires today, and it's stripping our kids of their future.
But it's our kids' future that Greenwood says the stimulus is investing in.
If we create functional individuals, well-rounded, educated people, then I don't think that the debt really matters that much, because then we as a nation will be able to overcome it, build stronger leaders. 1, 2, ready, half note.
It's a high note that Greenwood says we can take away from it, as he and Brogdon are both thinking of the future. Marla Carter, 2 News works for you.
To see more examples of where the money is being spent, we have links on our website for you. And while you're there, we want to know what you think. How concerned are you about what happens when the stimulus money runs out? To vote in our online poll, go to KJRH.com.